Guess what? Beards are weird.
Hey, on Wednesdays, we wear pink. Okay? Some of y'all like to say every week that this shirt is white. It's not. It's pink.
It's white. No, it's
I have
it
more
looks
pinky
like
pink shirts as well. They get dirty after I wear them.
It looks not white. Maybe do your laundry. Be responsible.
I just did laundry. I don't wash my dress clothes every week because I don't need to because I have more than enough on purpose because it takes a while to wash them. Anyway, I don't need to explain this to you.
Anyways, it looks like you washed a white shirt with a pink sock.
Well, I didn't. Okay.
Well,
So.
looks like it. Yeah.
Okay. So geometry, SCBA students will be able to solve ratios and proportions. 6.4. So our first question is, if we're doing ratios and proportions, hey, stop. Okay. The first question we have to ask if we're doing ratios and proportions is, what in the world is a ratio? Okay. So what is a ratio? No, it doesn't say what is a patio. I know it's kind of like a bunch of like squished together there. The letters are overlapping. It doesn't say what is a patio. It's supposed to say what is a ratio. Okay. So heads up on that. So a ratio is a comparison. It's a comparison of two or more quantities. It's a comparison of two or more quantities. Quantities means numbers. Think of quantity of something, okay? Now we have three different ways to represent ratios. Our first is as a fraction, like A over B. This number over this number. Okay? A to B.
It makes you really mad.
Okay?
You're gonna get salty.
Okay, probably. Okay? The second way is literally just writing A to B. Comparing A to B.
Okay, I'm gonna say it anyways.
And the third way is A colon B. Is A colon B. Is it how I write my A's or my
No.
B's? Okay.
It's the way the lines are spaced. So sometimes you have a really short line
Uh-huh.
for a big word,
Uh-huh.
and then other times you have a huge line for small words. And I'm just now noticing this, after the ratio, the first line, it's like dotted, and it's not like a full line, and there are certain full lines, and that's really bothering me. So
That is true.
you might want to fix that in the future.
Okay, I'll consider that.
Just saying. I'll email you till you fix it. I will.
I'll block you.
Oh, and then I'll come to your classroom.
I'll block the door.
I'll break down the window.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
So, ratios can be simplified.
Yes, I can do it with my mind. I just don't want
We can simplify ratios. Just like we can simplify a fraction, we can simplify a ratio.
Yeah,
And
I
just
see
like
what's
that, we
wrong
can
with doing it.
put our phone, turn it off. Okay.
Mine is
paintball. Okay, I wasn't talking to you.
You were looking at it though.
Thanks.
Yeah, you were.
Okay. Gracie, was I looking at Colton? No, who else was I looking at?
Gracie?
Yeah.
Gracie.
This isn't even real. Her
Yeah,
name
right.
is Grace and your name is Gracie.
Yeah.
I don't like it because when I rode the bus for her name was Grace.
Oh
It's
yeah.
messed up.
Me
Anyway,
and Nolan used
she's
to ride the
more
bus
Grace.
together. I was the most
sorry.
annoying person on the
I don't. Never. Example.
Ha.
A
Yeah,
music
we all
store.
understand why he
A
thinks
music
that.
store has 40 trumpets, 39 clarinets, 24.
You've given me
Violence.
the opportunity to roast the crap out of you now.
Fifty
No,
flutes.
please don't. Please don't. You'll actually hurt my feelings. I was joking. It'll actually hurt my
Hey, hey, hey.
He's trying not to laugh. Mr.
And
Consul, you just need you just need a break.
He's a soccer
Oh
player.
my god! Also, that is.
Yeah, your voice
He's a
is
soccer
very
player.
good.
He needs
I
to
know.
It's legit.
It's actually sideways.
I can't even look at it.
Okay,
I can't even look at it.
no, the projection on it is like kind of
Has it
like.
always been that way?
It's been that way for a few weeks. No, it won't. Stop.
Yes, it
Nolan,
will.
no.
It will. I know.
It will stay.
Oh my God, it's break out.
I know.
It's gonna work. My head's
Does
getting
it
like
anyways?
super like fainty right now. the test. So like,
You're pretty ratchet, is that okay?
Oh.
They just called you ratchet. And you're a bot, so what's the point?
You're wearing the wrong shirt.
Mr. I play rookie.
That's
Good.
literally so mean. This reminds me of the third graders like coach. So mean to him. Yeah, we compared to a third grader.
Oh, were you
my
bullied in
God.
high school?
Me?
Yeah.
A little bit actually for a few years.
Oh,
It's
I'm
got-
sorry.
What did they
Well, I
say?
think JK, if I were done it, I'd be so like
Alright,
how is your hair?
Okay, no, it was actually before I had hair.
Really?
Actually, after I might have been, I don't know, I didn't care.
Yeah.
I stopped caring at that point. So,
It's because you're a soccer player, that's why.
Why did you have that?
Or it's because you didn't have any
Is
friends.
it sweet? Or because he thought he was good at Madden because he played Ricky mode.
and I trash people at Madden in high school too. Okay, so let's
Have
go
you
back.
ever been to a party?
Like that kind of party, no.
Like a
party?
woo
Yeah.
party?
It's not about that.
Hey, that's why you were bullied. I'm just kidding. I haven't either. I have never been to a party either.
You're a liar.
No,
You're a liar.
I'm not. I'm a good
I
child.
swear I've seen you before.
Your phone's taken
I'm a
away.
good grade. We
You
don't
just
have
said
to.
that.
We don't have to say why.
Yeah, guys, let's move off this topic.
I'm a good kid. I just want you to know that.
Okay,
I am a good kid. I go to church.
I know.
okay.
That's amazing.
Unfortunately. Okay. Anyway.
I've never been to a party. I don't do drugs.
Okay. Okay.
I don't drink.
Okay.
Oh my God.
We're gonna be 100% done with these kind of conversations for the day.
For the day.
Yeah.
That means next class we got it.
Okay.
Don't worry, Grace.
I
Okay.
don't vape.
Okay. A music store has 40 trumpets, 39 clarinets, 24 violins, 51 flutes, and 16 trombones in stock. Write each ratio in simplest form. So, trumpets to violins. Trumpets to violins. How many trumpets are there?
40.
40. 40 trumpets. Oh, hey, look, now my calibration's off. So somebody moved my projector. Okay? How many violins do we have?
Hey, your line is straighter.
What is it? 29, 24.
24. So our ratio is 40 to 24. And we said one of the ways we can write a ratio is a fraction. Any of these are acceptable. I most commonly write them as fractions, okay? Because that's going to suit us well later on, okay? But they can be written in any of these three ways. I most commonly write them in fractions because it's going to suit us best later on. So our ratio of trumpets to violins is 40 to 24, haha. But we want to try and simplify our ratios if we can. Anything go into both 40 and 24, haha.
So your ratio in math would be
At
like
least.
24.
No. We said we were done with this.
24 wins.
No,
No,
we said
stop.
we're done with like how you got bullied.
No, all of these conversations. We've had too many of them already today. Okay?
At least 2.
Okay?
Or 4, actually. 4 would
Okay?
be
4
better.
can go into both. Can any number bigger than 4 go into both? Can 8 go into both?
Yeah.
How many times does 8 go into 40?
5 times.
How many times does it go into 24? Haha.
3.
3. So the ratio of trumpets to violins
Guys.
is 5 to 3, and that would be our answer. Our ratio of trumpets to violins is 5 to 3, and that would be our answer. We try and simplify it the best we can, okay? I want you guys to try to do the ratio of flutes to clarinets. I want you guys to try to do the ratio of flutes to clarinets.
Yay.
Okay? Well, I do the calibration game real quick, because now I have to, at Nolan Jarrett.
Okay, well it's still sideways.
I don't care.
I don't care about your dumb calibration game.
You
That's
guys'
okay.
Ooh, what about that?
is so bad. Literally the worst
Oh,
wrestler I've ever heard in my life.
Okay, anyway, flutes to clarinets. Please try to work on that.
What's your favorite?
Boys.
I was not part of that.
I wasn't a part of it at all.
Okay. Flutes and trombones. Flutes and clarinets. Can we simplify that at all?
I didn't try.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha. Sorry.
I was
It's still
very
pretty
good.
I'm doing both.
Number 2, you
Okay, so then 2 is
And
gonna
it's
lose.
not 2.
Okay, we keep the one off out. Sassy right there.
She was earlier.
Flutes to clarinets. What's our original ratio, guys?
51 over 39.
51 over 39. And like I said, we could also write this in a different way if we really wanted. We could do 51 colon 39, or we could do 51 to 39. Either way, we can call it 51 to 39. Okay? And 3 goes into both. Okay? Here's a helpful way you can know 3 goes into it. And 3 goes into a number. If you haven't learned this before, it's really cool. Okay? I just prefer math teacher school. So if we add up the digits of 5 and 1, what do we get? 6 is 6 divisible by 3. So 3 goes into it. If we add up the digits of 3 and 9, what do we get?
12.
12 is 12 divisible by 3. Then 3 goes into this. Kind of neat. So 3 goes into 51 how many times? 17. How many times does it go into 39? So the ratio of flutes to clarinets is 17 to 13. So for every 17 flutes we have in this store, there are 13 clarinets. For every 17 flutes there are in the store, there's 13 clarinets. Okay? I want you guys to try 3 and 4. I want you guys to try 3 and 4. Okay? When you have them or have questions on 3 and 4, I want you to raise your hand. When you have them or have questions, I want you to raise your hand.
Does it tell you what the
What was that? Depending on what you simplified it by the first time.
The total instruments, does that include the violin and then
Yep.
everything else?
All of the instruments. This instrument includes it.
Doing math, don't maybe.
Haswell?
That's what you didn't get everything.
Well, that's what you get for looking off my reader, because I don't always do it right, so.
I do it right.
Dude, look. There's nothing you
You have to add all of them now?
Yes.
Done. And something else going on.
Oh, no, you need that.
Do you doing 2?
Nice.
No, I'm not.
Oh, I see you. How about Sam? Savio. Your first one looks good, by the way.
You did.
That was such a.
Oh.
You done?
Yeah? Are you done?
Wait,
Wait, then it doesn't.
What?
That was what I added to that.
What? I did that.
Is it gonna be a decimal?
Not even. I'm just going to have to put it away.
I got it.
Oh,
Are they good?
okay, so 24 is 17 table.
I know for the
Yeah.
number.
Yeah.
What is an even number?
Oh my gosh.
I've never heard that before. Now I have.
Shooting one person, oh my
Hey, add that to the book actually.
Huh?
Hibiscus
But
out.
they just sent them to me.
Hibiscus on right.
Will you check this out?
No, it's just no. But it's just
Oh. I was just confused.
yeah.
Probably the evil.
People put hibiscus on rice.
Yeah, they do.
So what did I do wrong then?
Not right now,
You-
but
Yeah, I almost slept one at a time.
But I'm sure they do.
Trombones and trumpets. Kale, help me out here. What's our ratio for trombones and trumpets? 16 to 40. Okay. Now, Marissa, you simplified at first by what number?
4.
By 4. And you got 4 over 10, right? And then you said, wait, we can go further, can't we? And we can simplify by 2 and get 2 over 5. So it doesn't matter if you get the biggest simplification right away or not. You can always keep simplifying if you notice more. Okay? Violins and total instruments. 24 ha-ha violins. And how many total instruments are there? My goodness, this is
170.
170. Because you have to add in the violins in that as well, because that's an instrument. And this ends up simplifying by 2 to 12 over what? 85. So for every 12, so 12 out of every 85 instruments is a violin. So 12 out of every 85 instruments would be a violin. And here, for every 2 trombones, there would be 5 trumpets. Questions on that?
Oh.
Okay, have you guys ever seen ratios in real life?
Yes.
Okay, where's somewhere you've seen them?
Statistics.
Okay, statistics. Okay, kind of reminds me of. What do you mean a funny face of that? You kind of remind me of Finding Nemo. Where do you live? And then them. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
I do that.
Okay. No, it's true. I have those things too. I struggle with the word divisible, and I'm a math teacher, so I have to say divisible quite often. Okay, so I just like really think about it before I say
Maybe you
it.
should go back to
So.
5th grade.
Maybe I should. Probably actually 3rd grade, but okay.
3rd grade?
Yeah. By the way, I took
Yeah.
speech classes in elementary school because I had a hard time talking because I had a speech impediment.
Now I feel
Same.
bad. I was like, I did too. I had a list.
So like I would say like
List.
birdhouse, the SD at the end. I would say SH, birdhouse. Try to all my S's, I'd say it like as a sh. So
Birdhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used
Like
to
apparently, I didn't
So
know this
did
until I was older. My parents told me it,
What?
but apparently they would drive by birdhouses or like walk by birdhouses in the store and be like, "What's that?" And I'd be like, "Birdhouse," and they'd laugh. And I look back, I'm like, "Y'all are terrible." Like, that's so mean.
But like we didn't hear like the
And like,
same.
you're fine now.
Grace, we like did it the same, but I don't realize it either. Yeah, like now my S's are like.
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah, no, I had speech classes from preschool all the way to 5th grade.
I
Or
should
we
go
like
to 3rd
talk.
grade
I think
fast.
I think people that have
Speech impediments.
speech impediments are
Speech-
adorable.
See, the irony of a speech impediment is a lot of times you can't say that you have a speech impediment.
Yeah.
Just like if you have a lisp, you can't say you have a lisp.
List.
It's like, it's so ironic in the worst way. Just saying.
I have a speech
Anyway.
List. Yeah, that's how I used to talk.
And it's not mean for me to say, because I had a speech impediment.
That's how you talk.
Okay.
You sound.
Where else have you guys seen ratios? I heard someone saying statistics. Like statistics for what?
For humans,
In an eviction.
like
Okay.
3 out of 4 people
Okay.
die in a car accident.
Okay, 3 out of 4 maybe.
Wow.
Okay. That's not good. Okay. That is a ratio though. Okay. Have you guys like heard any information from colleges and they talk about maybe their student to faculty ratio?
Yes.
You guys ever heard that? That's always like,
Like the
Oh,
graduation percentage and stuff.
kind of,
Like
yeah,
what?
yeah, like
That's
this
like a
many out of
rate.
every student graduates.
I
Okay.
seen one that was like 31%.
Okay. So, but like
You're gonna be-
oftentimes you'll
you're
see
gonna
like
be
a student to faculty ratio, for a college, and they'll say maybe like we have a 12-to-1 student faculty ratio. They're trying to say, hey, we have a lot of faculty for every student. It's not like that big. We're trying to say, hey, for every 12 students, there's 1 faculty member here. Like they're trying to make it seem small, so they break it down into a ratio. Okay. Or they might say like 3 out of every 4 people, or like maybe like 2 to 3 of our people, like 2 to 5 of our people are girls or that kind of thing, or like that kind of thing, or like for in this program, like stuff like that. Okay, have you guys heard those before?
Yes.
Okay, some of you have, some of you haven't. Okay. That's where you see ratios. Okay.
See ratios when it comes to
Statistics.
mechanics.
Leave me alone about that. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm making fun
Okay.
of myself.
Where do you see it in mechanics?
Fuel to air ratio.
Fuel to air ratios. Okay. And you're comparing the two numbers, right?
The pump,
The amount
the
of fuel to the
amount
amount
of
of air.
air in your tires.
Okay. I don't think that's a ratio. Okay. So an extended ratio, okay, is going to be a comparison. It's going to be a compare. Chambers. This isn't like me today.
Yes.
It's a comparison. Oh my goodness. Okay. Comparison. I am just being grown in
Yeah,
my
I'm
patience
really
today.
thinking 3rd grade is a good idea.
That's okay. I'm just being grown in my patience. The Lord's not wanting to work well with me. I'm just told I need to be a little more patient right now. Okay. It's a comparison of 3. Patience. No matter, it's not working. I'll
I
get
don't
through
know if I could be a teacher.
it. It's a comparison of 3. Ooh, jeepers, this thing is not.
Is it 3 or more?
3 or more. Yep. It is going to be 3 or more when I end up being able to write this. It is 3 or more. This thing is not going to cooperate. 3 or more quantities.
Is it
Now,
just
I'd be like,
you or
Mr.
is it
Consul,
board?
it's the board. Like I'm writing like I
Oh.
normally do, but it's like it's not
That's
the
what
way
they
it's
all say.
responding. Okay.
Board.
So, it's a comparison of 3 or more quantities. Like, Mr. Consul, you know, you seem like a chill dude. I'm like, well, thanks, you know, I like to think so. Okay. Now, why is a ratio 2 or more, and then an extended ratio we have 3 or more? Like, why don't we just call it ratio 2 and an extended ratio 3 or more? Okay. Well, that's because an extended ratio is just a more specific type of ratio. So a ratio can be 2 or more, but if it's 2, it has to be a ratio, and it can't be an extended ratio. So extended ratios is some more specific type of ratio. So all extended ratios are also ratios. Okay? Just like all of you are high school students. More specifically, okay, you can go into your grade levels. That's true. Because some are more mature than others. Okay? But like more specifically, they'll be going to grade levels as well. Okay? You go into sports activities, that kind of stuff. Okay, that you do. Okay? You can do the students that have their phones out, students that don't have their phones out. Okay? You can do all
There's
sorts of
teachers,
things
there's
like
bad
that.
teachers.
Okay?
Oh!
That's true. Not for students. Okay?
Roasted!
Okay?
You're a
Hey,
wonderful
Marissa, that was
teacher.
your warning. Okay? Actually, phone away now. Okay? No, it doesn't just mean run down your lap and still text. Okay? Thank you. Okay. So extended ratios,
GG, buddy.
we write them in colons. We write A to B to C in these colons, okay? We don't do fractions for extended ratios. We don't do fractions for these extended ratios. And I'm going to show you why here in a second, okay? We don't do fractions for extended ratios. Okay? So, if we're going to do a fraction, that'd be like A to B to C. That gets confusing, doesn't it? When we have 3 things in a fraction.
That thing.
Okay? It can be done mathematically, but it's really confusing and it throws us off like crazy. Okay? So instead of doing that, we just do the 3 colons. Okay? We just do the 3 colons. So that's why we don't do. Okay. Maybe I'm just not going to erase this today. Okay, it's just staying there. That's okay. So, the ratio of 2 complementary angles is 3 to 7. The ratio of 2 complementary angles is 3 to 7. Find the measures of both angles. Okay? Complementary angles. What kind of angles are complementary angles? What do you go by?
They equal each other.
Not necessarily.
They have the same slope.
So, Colton, you want to look over to the poster to your right.
They complement each other.
They're nice to each other, right? They're nice and friendly, right? Colton, what's angle B say? Colton, what's angle B say?
I like that you're a good friend.
Okay? Nolan, what's angle A say?
I like the way you always help me.
It sounded like it
You
was
always.
Monotone?
Okay,
I like the way you always help me.
perfect. Okay. So those are complementary angles, they're complementing each other. Okay, and what do those angles do there? They're adding up to 90. Like Marissa said a moment ago, they add to 90. Complementary angles add to 90. Now we're told the ratio of two complementary angles is 3 to 7. And we're told these angles are complementary. So we know these angles add to 90 because they're complementary. So you have one angle plus another angle equals 90, right? We know that. And we know the ratio is 3 to 7. Does that mean one angle is 3 degrees and the other angle is 7 degrees? Because would 3 plus 7 equal 90? No. We're going to have to multiply them by something. Just like a moment ago, we simplified ratios. Now we're going to be going the other direction. We do a lot of math, don't we? We go one direction, then we go the other. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, okay, we're going to do 3 times a number and x times a number. Okay.
7 times the number.
What did I say?
X times the number.
Oh yeah, 3 times the number and 7 times the number.
I really thought you were gonna make it one direction.
Oh my.
Oh.
Maybe recalibrate it
And then
one more
if you
time
do-
and then do the advanced one, not just the 4 corners.
I don't think that'll help
And
unfortunately.
then get over
Maybe we can try it next time.
You guys, come on, seriously, knock it off.
So, just like here, guys, when we had 40 and 24, haha, we simplified by the same number of 8. So if we were going back from 5/3 to get to 40 over 24, what would we do with both 5 and 3? Multiply by 8. Okay? And you have to multiply the top and the bottom by the same thing, right? Just like here, if we were going back from 17 over 13 to try and get to 51 over 39, what would we do? You would multiply by 3, okay? If we were to take 2 to 5, and we were to try and go back to 16 over 40, what would we do? If we were to take 2 over 5 and try and go back to 16 over 40, what would we do? Multiply by 8, the top and the bottom, right? Same thing over here, multiply by top and bottom by 2. So if we're in the ratio 3 over 7, and we're trying to go back to what the actual angles are, we're going to need to multiply by the same number. But do we know what the number is? No, we don't. Okay, you guys can answer that. How about everyone says on 3, no, okay? 1, 2,
No.
3.
No.
No. That was really bad. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3.
No.
That was better. Okay? So we're going to say x is our unknown number we're multiplying by. And we keep the x the same. Okay, we keep the x the same because we're multiplying by the same number each row. Like before, we didn't multiply the top by 5 and the bottom by 8. No. Multiply the top and the bottom both by 8. Now we know 3 times x plus 7 times x will equal our 90. Okay? So what is, now we got the setup, how can we solve this? 10x, because we can combine like terms. 10x equals 90,
9.
and then divide by 10 and x equals 9. Now are we asked just to find x, or find what we're multiplying by? Okay? No, we're not. What are we asked to do? What are we asked to do? Find the measures of both angles. Thank you, Emily. So, we know one of the angles is 3 times x, and one of the angles is 7 times x. So how can we figure out the angles?
Multiply.
Multiply. Plug it back in.
Is that your equal sign?
Yeah, my pen
Yeah.
is not having it today. So yes, this is supposed to be an equal sign.
Z.
Like I didn't even make that pop up, and it just popped up. So 3 times x, or 3 times our 9, is equal to what?
3 times 9 is
27.
27. So one of the angles is 27 degrees.
Don't
Our other
say
one
see it.
is going to be 7 times 9, and what's that? 63. So our two angles are 27 degrees and 63 degrees. We do not care the order we write these in. We don't have to write them a specific way like we did our ratio. We're just finding angle measures now. Okay? And we can check that these are complementary angles because they do in fact add up to 90, which is good.
And if you put them in division column, simplify this.
And you could go put them back into a ratio and get them back down to 3 over 7, 3 to 7. Okay, I want you guys to try to set up number 6. It's very similar to number 5, Except for instead of complimentary, it's supplementary, and I don't want you guys flirting.
Learning.
Flirting.
Learning.
No.
You don't want to.
She's messing with
Oh, is she?
No, like I actually thought these were learning.
Y'all are gonna
Dead
make me have gray
serious.
hair.
What?
I said y'all are gonna make me have gray hair.
It's okay.
You're making
What if you
Yeah,
had gray
you're
hair
already
before the
making me
wedding?
have gray hair.
My beard's starting to lose
Yeah.
hair.
If I get gray hair in the next 4 months to 15 days, oof.
Why is
She will still love you no matter.
No one's always like, I'm balding. You're making me lose the hair. Am I right?
I don't know.
I'm feeling good.
I'm losing hair. You don't do
Whoa! Language!
No, dog, have you finished this one? Colton, have you finished this one?
You did it count. You did
He's on his cow.
Do they both go by 10? 10. Then what does it go by?
You add them together. You add them. You add those numbers together.
You check this. I can.
Oh.
Oh my.
That's not what I did. Okay.
Alright, I'm done.
Hold on, check that.
Okay, so
15.
I'm coming.
Bam, babe. I'm done.
So it will be
What?
Sean.
Mr. Fossil, I did not hear what you said, sir. Stop talking. I wasn't talking. Well, I was not. Like that?
Wait. How'd you get 10x? Because I used to know that.
A girl's gotta have options.
What's that?
5x. But I thought that was the 50. Because I put 50 right there, so it's 5. Oh my god. I don't know then.
What kind of angles do we have?
Oh, it's a 90-degree angle. Never mind. That's what I put
So what kind of
90.
angles are these? Ready, guys, what's that mean?
I said it.
Ooh, Brayden, fresh cut.
Opposite 90 degrees. I think so, like that.
Yep.
Boom. So instead of equal to 50, we're equal to
Got one on the side,
lit.
another thing off the top, double end.
Perfect. Everything.
Equals
Where'd you go?
1.
Cost cutters just right by Ivy. I have work tonight, I don't wanna go.
Oh, life is so hard.
Maybe you should let me get a job there because I freaking applied like
I
3
don't have
years ago.
Cool, you don't have a job?
No.
Go sweep
Yeah, it's
the
supposed to get really
streets.
cold tonight, not the person that's clearing the lot. I have to
Oh,
bring all the carts in.
that's terrible.
Your sarcasm, bro? I can't believe it. That's gonna suck though. Imagine
Oh,
having
that's
50 carts
terrible.
away in like 20-degree weather.
You could go work somewhere else.
Nah, I like Ivy.
There you go. Just complain.
Ivy doesn't give me bad acne, like the grease fries at Monzo.
That was so funny.
That's the whole reason my mom wouldn't let me apply to a fast food place. Because I'd get bad acne
Your
from
mom
grease
is
fries.
so that person. You and your mom are nothing like your mom's like from Beverly Hills, I feel like, and like
His mom is quite a classy lady.
and he's like, yeah.
Like with the purse, like
His mom is like Beverly Hills, like you see her driving around with a little dog in her Audi, her white Audi with the sunroof, the interior is all leather,
Probably not.
and then like
Okay.
Braden's
The
like,
ratio of two supplementary angles is 4:1. Find the measures of both angles. Kale, let me set this one up.
Kale.
I need a dryer connection.
4x plus 1x, or just x equals 180. How do we know they add up to 180 here, Clyde?
Because of supplementary.
Boom, there's something there that means they add up to 180. Okay, now we combine like terms. Mackenzie, what is 4x plus x? So I say it again. 5x equals 180. Colton, what do you do now?
Yeah, divide.
Five. What do you get?
You get 36.
X 36.
Oh
Okay, are we done, Emily? No, what do you do? Multiply by what?
Plug it in.
By what?
Plug it in.
Plug it in, right? Where? Plug 36 into 36.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you plug it into 4x? Gracie, what's that end up being?
Grace or Gracie?
144. Awesome. That's 144 degrees. Their label. I'm talking about 144 Apple Jacks. About 144 degrees.
That's
Okay.
serious.
Our doctor gives.
Y'all have hot takes on like literally every subject. Like I just like brought up like a cereal, and you're like, and I just heard like 4 opinions on it like out of nowhere.
Yeah, disgusting.
Like,
That's good.
yikes.
Fire.
The cinnamon toast crunch.
Okay. Anyway, Sam, what's our other angle end up being?
36.
36 degrees, because you just have to take 1 times x, aka x. And those do in fact add up to 180. If you were to simplify the ratio back down, you would get 4 to 1. Questions on that?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm kidding.
I'm kidding. Mr. Constable.
Oh.
Oh.
I said I'm
Yeah,
kidding. I'm kidding.
I know.
You said I'm kidding.
Say, I kid.
No, I said hi, kidding.
No, you said I kidding. That's what I
Okay, you're
heard.
probably right.
Yeah, I
Keep tossing
know.
the pot.
After a while, I just learned not to argue with people that won't listen.
Oh my
So,
God.
on number
Right.
7,
Like
the ratio of the measures of the angles in a triangle is 4 to 7 to 9. Find the measure of the angles. Okay? So the ratio of the measures of a triangle, of the angles in a triangle, excuse me, is 4 to 7 to 9. Find the measure of the angles. What do we know about all the angles in a triangle? Add up to what? 180.
260.
So can somebody help me set this one up? Okay, 4x, Sam, keep going.
Plus 7x.
Okay, thank you, Sam.
Plus 9x.
Thank you, Sam.
Equals
180.
180.
Good job, Grace.
Sam, your voice is higher than it used to be. Are you going through reverse puberty? Okay. I thought
Yeah.
maybe,
Yes,
maybe you're going through puberty around too, like I did earlier this year.
Sam's birthday was yesterday, I think.
Yes.
But you just
Was it
said
actually?
puberty?
Can you drive or did you fail?
What?
Can you drive or did you fail?
Did you fail?
I
Obviously.
did. I just okay.
Still steals return parts.
Okay,
I
I
do
want you
not.
guys
I
to
am
solve
a
this
child of God.
and then find the measure of the angles. I want you guys to solve this and find the measure of the angle.
I would never.
Gracie's gonna pull with a Barbie trike and her helmet on.
Okay, so go ahead and finish solving this one.
Couldn't you see that?
I can see Mr. Costa going down the soccer field on the Barbie bike.
Oh, good night.
With a Dora Explorer helmet on. And training wheels.
Dude, Grace's
Oh, hey,
scooter
why
was
did I
all
do
the way
that?
out here. I could just see Grace pumping. Pulled up with her
Is this
glasses.
our homework? Because I'm about to
And her
freaking go
Her
hard.
Barbie helmet. Oh. We should make a video about that race. Okay. Okay, let's do it. I think we have a trike still. From when we were little.
Mention my mom and people were doing crazy about her.
Because your mom's a lovely person.
She is a lovely person.
Oh, did you say that she's a lovely person? That's so nice.
Hey,
Wait, who said that? You or him?
Me.
Yeah, see, that's so nice. I've never heard of something.
once you're done, or any questions, raise your hand.
I need a calculator.
You done yet?
The first one was so
Okay, I got
No, give me first one.
No. Steelers fan, bro.
Yeah.
Done!
You drink me too. That's not a real Steelers
I think you every team. Back up to
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's done.
Pretty
You
much
not
20.
seen a 9 trick? Okay,
Yeah,
so
no, I've seen the 9 trick.
like this. And then it's not like 9 times
That's
7.
not right.
No.
Put the 7 finger down and it's 63.
What are you doing, man?
1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh,
5,
that's
6.
Yeah, I never
Have you
learned the
seen
nine
that?
string.
6, 3,
I
I
never
remember the
even
first time this year.
Wow.
Tricks, I always just memorize my lines.
Guess what? Not all of us are as smart as you, Brayden.
Dude, you didn't have one of the rest of
That was a compliment. I just wasn't smart. Well, I wasn't smart, so you should thank me. You did.
We did too.
I just said he was smart.
That's pretty good.
I
I grade
just
one.
said he was smart. I just said he was smart. I just said he was
Probably
smart.
won't play it. Just join me later.
Yeah,
Also gets
I
offended.
did.
I get called
He's a Vikings fan.
What?
I get called from my game.
I got him now.
This thing is soft.
Who's
bro.
the best
I
in
got
that?
him.
Degrees, Braden, biology. I'm not studying that one on a PC. Not bad.
There.
I traded most of them.
I heard you got bunch
Wrong, right?
You're
wrong.
Yeah.
Whenever someone brings up my family, they always bring up my dad's Audi. It's not
That
that,
is heavy.
yeah, but it's not, it was,
See, now you're just, now
it was
you're going too
$20,000.
far.
It's not
You're
that
going too
expensive.
far.
4x plus 7x plus 9x is equal to 20x equals to 180. Divide both sides by 20. What's up?
What if I got over two?
You can do it. Okay, we got x equal 9. That makes sense crazy. Okay. Then we plug it back in.
Me?
And we have 4 times 9, which is 36 degrees. 7 times 9, which is 63 degrees. Then we also have 9 times 9, which is 81 degrees. So our answer is the 81 degrees, 36 degrees, and 63 degrees.
Wait, that's.
Right, Colton? Yep.
Oh, I added them all together, that's what I got. Okay, so.
Well, if you add those 3 together, you'll get 180.
Okay, so I got that.
Okay?
I just added them.
If you add those 3 together, you get 180. Okay, so if you add those 3, you get 180. So I want you guys to try number 8. Number 8 is very similar, just different numbers. Okay, when you have number 8 or have questions, raise your hand. If you have number 8 or have questions, raise your hand. Number 8 is very similar,
Oh my goodness.
different numbers. I forgive you.
So pretty much you're finding.
And here,
the
what
greatest
angle do we need to find? The largest angles. We really need one angle, okay?
Too bad.
Check. What are we asking, Julian?
Nothing.
Oh, no, that's not true. What are we asking?
Fine.
I got you. Wait, can we just plug in just 11 and then that's awesome. We don't want this one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was just saying that.
Wrong.
So pretty much, it's like trying to find the greatest sometimes.
Check number 9 and 10.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out
Oh,
what was
we're
taken out.
gonna
Yeah.
Like, what were they all
You're not allowed to do it.
Yeah, that's a great question.
What?
Calm down. Okay. Okay. Yeah. You didn't say okay. 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 You know what?
I would
Good,
deeper-
dog.
I have a deeper voice than you right now since I'm sick.
It's probably true. I don't have such a good voice, so.
Jillian, you done yet?
Oh yeah!
What is that then?
You don't want to see what 37 pounds of booze does in a dirty match?
Because we were just finding one. The only thing that's changing, instead of I can find all 3 angles.
How much boost do you think my 244 cubic inch
Handle?
Yeah.
Like 12 miles a night.
I
Probably
hear
like
you're just flexing on
12
everybody
pounds,
today.
maybe.
Come on, Brayden.
No, my truck is literally worth $500.
That's it. Oh.
It's worth more than the school's
I'm
budget.
sorry. Never mind.
Mine's worth like 1,000 maybe.
Okay, he was just talking about his dad's Audi.
It's
So.
You said 20 grand, but a new Duramax costs 70,000.
yeah.
A new one of my trucks costs $70,000.
A new one of my
Not
trucks costs like 50.
Yeah, no, why are you flexing now?
That's
You
150.
don't know what to talk.
A lot of men that are farm people drive Duramax.
No.
But we have no people like
Power
that besides
strokers.
Max and Nolan, but Nolan buys his own stuff.
Oh my god.
Max is a 150.
Maxwell's a nice truck though, dude. That thing's clean as heck.
Two true farm boys. Okay,
He's
Max
not a farm
actually
boy.
is a farm boy.
The kid wants Air Jordan.
He works in the office.
so
That's-
You know, you get another new glove.
Yeah.
Max
One
should be
year
Yeah,
old.
but it's red, bro.
Yeah, I know.
You guys should see the stuff
It's just
Max says around me. He actually acts like a farm boy, like when we go riding side by side. But otherwise,
I'm the
And
best.
yours is-
he's a little wuss.
Okay, why? See, I hate getting new gloves. They're like keep.
Hey Grace, do you know how we set this one up?
Flexible.
Of course.
No.
Okay,
I'll do it. Let me do it on the
11x
board. Let me do it on the
plus
board.
2x plus 5x equals 180.
Okay, Nolan, you can finish solving this one up here.
You asked me.
Yeah,
I asked you to help me set it up. You
Let's
did it.
go. Let's
Really?
go.
Who's your
Wow.
dad?
Where are you going?
Who's your
Let's
dad?
go. Let's go.
Looky, looky, looky.
You said that's so wrong.
I did not care. Okay, whatever. I'm your dad, but you know what?
You're my dad. You're my dad.
Well, you know what? Whatever. Let's not
I don't know
pretend
how
that-
you don't know because all you do is watch it.
Because I make my own ways.
This is his TikTok.
That's the
Me,
easiest
me,
TikTok
me.
ever.
He says me, me, me to everything. He grabs the dog's ear. Me, me, me. Sierra. Me, me, me.
Some of y'all are like low-key roasting each other. It's kind of funny.
But I'm the best one on the team.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
No, like,
You lose.
my bad.
Yeah.
Gracie, how do you
Yeah,
like
I've
your house in
I got it.
Beaver Lake? You
Huh?
still live up there?
Super nice
Yeah.
dirt.
You miss
spelled
our
his name wrong.
Shenanigans Road? Honestly,
Spell my name wrong.
Because I
I don't
can't
know
remember
what your
name
name
of
is.
that. Exactly.
It's on my door. It's on your schedule. I know how to spell your name. I have way more students than you have.
How do you
teachers.
spell that? How do you spell that?
Yes, everything's super spelled.
That's the other part.
Did you put A in Castle?
Okay, but
I
one
missed
is
it, but I
an
don't miss
AL.
it.
When you're a third baseman,
I know, sick.
it's scary.
Alright,
Look at the board, boys and girls.
so
Good job, Nolan.
no block
You're not
got
as
this.
dumb as I
Our
thought
biggest
you
angle
were.
is 110 degrees.
What does it say up there? What does it say up there?
Hey, thanks,
Castle is
Nobot.
a bot.
Okay.
Good God.
Oh. Thank you.
Okay, y'all.
What's 6 times 7?
You spelled
I'm terrible at like
42.
42.
You asked me and I answered.
Not enough quick math in middle school.
Okay. The ratio of the measures of the sides of the triangle is 2 to 8 to 7 plus 2 plus 3 and 7 plus 3.
Let's
If the perimeter of the triangle is 76 inches, find the length of each side. What's perimeter mean?
The
distance around.
The distance around the figure, so it's the sum of all the sides. Okay, so the distance around the figure, aka the sum of all the sides, right, Colton?
Yes.
Super, okay? So, we're told the ratio of the measure of the sides is 2 to 8 to 9. Sorry, 2 to 8 to 9. If the perimeter of the triangle is 76 inches, find the length of each side. Now, we help me set this one up. First up,
Is it gonna be 2x plus 8x plus 9x equals 76?
you nailed it. It's like the same thing, right? This was side lengths, because we're still adding them to our perimeter. Okay? I want you guys to go ahead and finish this one, and then go ahead and do number 10. Finish this one, and then we try number 10. Make sure we're careful with our labels, okay?
Imagine getting an open note test and then failing it by 1 point.
Gracie, come on, you're better than that.
It sucks.
When did that happen? I'm sorry about that.
Spanish is terrible, so.
I just wish there was like the ER and I are endings.
Did you do good on the time quiz? Oh, you Spanish
What is that thing that keeps going off?
It's my watch.
next
Oh,
class.
yeah.
You guys do a time
I thought it was like
quiz,
the
you
alarm
guys
next
get
door
all
or something.
endings from 30 questions.
Sounds like an oven. Oh, good thing
Grace,
I'm
did you
not going to dance class.
Yes, I did.
Then you have to take another time. But
Okay, well, it
you-
doesn't
you
bother
have
me
to
because
get
you're
another
watching, but it happens to anybody else.
Got it.
And you can retake.
Like, this is a reason.
I
What
agree.
is
Just
it?
like,
Every time.
I know, on these four. Is that
Yeah.
how you say it?
So yeah, if you like.
Interesting.
like,
No, not really.
What's our label?
on it, and it's a little, chart where it says-
Wait, do you want to see number
You
10?
have to fill those in with AR, IR.
Here,
And
you
then
want to see
30
number 10?
everywhere.
Yep.
You have to fill in 30 times. You only have 30
What?
minutes, and if you don't get 100, you have to take it.
No, we actually found it. Someone just has 42 inches. That's really
Did you get 100?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's not
Not
good.
4. What did I do wrong?
It was so stressful. It's not as hard as it sounds.
It sounds pretty darn hard.
What? Four times 9 is 1.47.
It's so beautiful. Like all my cousins can speak it.
I don't know. I'm with Mike. Sorry.
Gracie got it.
Nope.
A lot of people, they can't check their answers. I don't know. Let me try and read this chicken scratch. I'm not doing my energy. Wait, where's your answer? Got it.
Come check my number
Here,
10.
she labeled them. First of all. Oh, okay. It needs.
You only have to find the shortest one, which is.
One needs a little, one needs very.
I'm good. Check mine.
Got the number. Yeah, I wasn't there. I left.
Hey, what you got that quiz? 19 now.
For baseball?
So, class next practice.
No.
And then apparently at some point, everyone just started getting mad and yelling at each other.
On number 9,
Then they're pretty good, actually.
2x plus
They must
8x
be
plus
pitching
9x
varsity.
is what, Grace?
Pitching and striking out 18
Grace, Grace was 2x plus 8x plus 9x.
That would be 19x.
It would be 19x, very good.
Yeah.
19x equals 76. So we divide by 19, okay? And then what's x end up being? Very good, 4, okay? Now we need to go back in, this time we need to find,
Sorry, it's funny. Okay, I'm done. I got 6 minutes.
so now we need to find the length of each side. So what do you have to do with this? Plug it back in, okay? So what are our side lengths end up being?
That's 8,
8 inches,
16, no, 32,
32
36.
inches, and 36 inches. Be careful with the labels. Questions on number 9? Okay, Mackenzie, can you come set up number 10?
Friends, are you focused?
Awesome, okay, thank you. Okay, Jillian, what's 10x plus 15x plus 6x?
What?
What's 10x plus 15x plus 6x?
31.
31x equals 217. Did I get 217? Divide both sides by 31. X ends up being what? 7. It ends up being 7. Now we just need the length of which side? The shortest side. So do we need to bother plugging 7 back into 10 and 15? Which is 42 inches. Okay? Questions on that?
Meters.
Okay?
Meters.
Oh,
Yes, you told me wrong.
I'm sorry.
Wow, man.
Oh,
Big
Now I'm
sound.
all messed up.
Grace, he is a human.
I'm not being serious, Gracie.
Well, you've been kind of a douche, Grace.
So have you.
Okay.
That's
Costa's like, that was so brutal.
Boom, roasted.
Okay, we're gonna call that. We can't call people names like that.
I'm sorry.
That's funny. I
Mr.
found a lot.
Costa, you know I'm joking with you, right?
Yes.
And you know that I think you're an amazing teacher, right?
Yes.
Okay,
but-
you think you know that I think that you're a good person too, right?
Okay, we get it.
And
We
you know
have
I'm
4
joking,
minutes of
right?
class left,
We
humans.
get it.
Okay, I'm just saying, you know I'm joking, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I like your bow
He knows
tie.
I'm
Hey,
joking.
Grace.
Oh.
Next time maybe Let's make it
Okay.
a little bit less.
Okay.
Is
You're
YouTube
not-
gonna demonetize this video?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, now I'm not gonna get rich.
I'm not
Okay.
Okay, stop.
What is a proportion? A proportion, okay? So we're not saying proportion like we're supporting portions, okay? Like you're pro something, okay? That's supposed to be a joke, okay? A proportion is an equation. It's an equation that states two ratios. That states two ratios are equal. It states two ratios are equal. So we take one ratio and another ratio, and we set them equal to each other. Boom, we call it a proportion. A proportion is written as A to B is equal to C, is equal to C over D. A proportion is written as A to B over C, B is equal to C over D. So A over B is equal to C over D, or A to B is equal to C over D. So A to B individually is a ratio, C to D is a ratio. Set them equal, call it a proportion now. Okay? There will be no homework, but I want you guys to dial in for like 2 more seconds here, okay? Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, I think so. Okay? So, if we were to have a proportion, A over B is equal to C over D. Okay, I want you guys to see this a couple times, so I'm going to talk about it today, and then we're going to revisit next time, so we see it a couple times here. And if I wanted to get rid of all my denominators, what would I do if I wanted to get B out of the denominator here? Multiply by B, right? Or B over 1. And if I multiply this side by B, what do I have to do over here? The same thing, right? Now this B and the B simplify out to 1 and 1. So we have 1 times A is equal to A over 1, so just A. And over here we have B times C over D. I can put the B first, right, like alphabetical. Now what do I say if I wanted to get rid of this D? What do I do? I multiply by D over 1, right? And then I have to do it again to the other side. Now on the left side I just have A times D or D times A. On the right side these D's simplify out. And so we're just left with B times C. So now, do I end up having everything in the numerator and no more denominator? I do have no more denominator now. Okay? And did they kind of just switch sides? Did the bottoms just kind of switch sides? Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more next time. Go and pack it up.
You're not have homework?
Okay?
He said that. Go ahead.